Many of you have heard me tell the story, especially on TBN, of the greatest miracle that I ever witnessed was in A.A. Allen's meeting. A lot of people, when I tell that, they come to me, it's church folks. They said, "Did that really happen?" I said, "No, I'm just telling a lie." Sinners will believe what you say, but it's church folks that don't believe it. Where be all your miracles? When we were in Birmingham, Alabama, I'll never forget it. I'll just paraphrase it. A mother from Knoxville, Tennessee came to Birmingham, Alabama with her little son, 4 years of age, that was born with 26 major diseases. He was born blind and deaf and dumb, and his tongue hanged out of his mouth. Lay on his chin. He had deformed lungs, deformed liver, deformed heart. Only 2.5 chambers were functioning in the heart. He had no business to be alive. And she told me, she said, "Brother Schambach, I preached the afternoon service. We called that the faith clinic to get him ready for the operating table tonight. Many of you need an operation tonight. And I've been praying about this. Let me go on just a little bit more about the story. But she came to me, and in my spirit, I said, if God kept this boy alive 4 years, then he must be going to do something for him. Because the doctors told her that that boy would never see his first birthday. And he's approaching 4. Both arms were deformed, matted together, elbows protruding up into the stomach, both legs deformed, the knees touching the elbows. He was in a fetal position, expecting that child to die any moment. He was born without male organs, and he was born without feet. 26 major diseases. And that woman stayed for a week, like some of you are going to do here. Don't go home early. You don't know what's coming. That woman stayed for a week. She lived in a motel, ate 3 restaurant meals. She gave in every service. We had 3 services a day. And she came to me the following Sunday after I got done preaching, and she said, "Is the man of God going to pray for my son?" I said, "I don't know." Because God used him in a supernatural way where he sees things. And he'd always take you on a trip. Halfway through his message, he was stopped, and he says, "God is taking me on a trip." And I told her, I said, "Now, I don't know whether he's going to pray, but I'll tell you this one thing. If he does not pray," now she told me, she said, I ain't got but $20 left. $15 is for the doctor. $5 is for gas to get me from Birmingham back to Knoxville. And you know that must have been years ago when gas was only 15 cents a gallon. Some of you young folks, you can't conceive that. But that's when it was cheap. And she said, "All I have left is $20, and you ain't going to see no doctor for $15. And she said, "I've got to take him back. Do you believe he's going to pray?" And I said, "I don't know, but I will tell you this one thing. If he does not pray for your child tonight, I will personally take that baby to the man of God's trailer house." We all lived in trailers. "And I'll get him to lay hands on that boy before you go home." She said, "You'll do that?" I said, "I'll do it." She went back to her seat. Got in the service that night. I introduced the man of God, and he come flying out there. And he said, I believe God's going to do great things tonight. He said, but before we do this, I'm going to take an offering. Doesn't that sound familiar? I hope you all obeyed God tonight when Pastor Parsley asked you to do something. Because that's what triggers many a miracle. It did in this case. And she said, all I have left is $20. And he come out and he said, I believe God's going to do great things tonight. But he said, before I preach, I want you to give God an offering of faith. And I never heard him use that terminology before this. And he said, now, if you don't know what I mean, an offering of faith is giving God something you can't afford. If you can afford it, there's no faith connected to it. And I saw that little woman throw that little baby into the arms of another woman, and she leaped out into the aisle and came running. He was holding the offering buckets. We were in the Fairgrounds auditorium there. I'll never forget this. And she came running down there and threw an offering into the bucket. She was 3/4 of the way back, and she was the first one to the bucket. I leaped off the platform, and I went down and looked in the bucket. Because I'm nosy. I know what the woman had. Because she told me that afternoon. And when I looked in that bucket, I saw a $20 bill. I ran behind the platform and I wept like a baby. And I cried out to God and I said, oh God, I've been trying to teach faith to this woman all week. But I said, please, Jesus, give me faith. Like I saw that woman manifest tonight. I don't know whether I could have done that. You don't know whether you could do it unless you're in a similar situation. I jumped back on the platform, and he started to preach. He was into his message about 10 minutes, and he said, I'm being carried away in the Spirit. I said, oh no. Here we go on another trip. And all I have on my mind is that baby boy. And he says, I'm coming up on a white building. Oh, I know it. It's a hospital. I'm on the inside now, and I hear a lot of babies crying. It's the maternity ward. He said a little baby was just born. And there's 4 or 5 doctors around the table. And I hear one of the doctors saying the baby won't live to see its first birthday. He said the baby was born with, this is Brother Allen talking, the baby was born with 12, 16, 20, 26 major diseases. And I come alive. I said, my God, tonight's that baby's night. He said the doctors are wrong. The boy's alive. And he said, I see the mother getting into an old Ford, packing a suitcase, another lady with her. And he said, I see the Tennessee-Alabama border. He said, that old Ford's pulling into the parking lot. He said, lady, you're here tonight. Bring me your baby now. God is going to give you 26 miracles. Nobody told me this story. I was there. I was an eyewitness to it. And she came and put that baby in his arms. Mama was standing over there at the end of the platform. He paced back and forth. He said, I want everybody to stand. Close your eyes. I'm standing with him, pacing with him. I said, I ain't closing my eyes. I said, I've been waiting for this all week. I'm going to be scriptural. I'm going to watch and pray. Darlene Bishop, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? I'm going to watch and pray. And I watched. And the first thing I saw, those blind eyes of milky color, whirlpools began to spin around. And all of a sudden, the whirlpool was gone. And I was looking into the eyes of a brown-eyed baby boy. The blind eyes open. I knew if God opened the eyes, I knew them deaf ears popped. And all of a sudden, the next thing, the arms started cracking and popping like cordwood. And both arms came out. Both legs simultaneously with the arms began to snap and brought both of those legs out. Remember, the boy was born without feet and born without male organs. But here, all of a sudden, and I saw this with my own eyes, God created feet on the little boy that had no feet. What do you want God to do for you? I've been hearing that ever since I got here. What do you want? Not what you need. What you want? What do you want? What do you want? Anything He wants to give me. I'm tired of that mess. What do you want? Jesus on the main line? Tell Him what you want. I said, tell Him what you want. Hallelujah. You're going to leave here. You're going to leave here a different person tonight. This is your night to receive a miracle from God. Hallelujah. Now, a little while ago, you told somebody, I believe you're going to get a miracle. Turn around that same person and say, I'm the one going to get the miracle tonight. That's what I'm here for. I'm believing God for myself. I'm going to claim this for myself. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I cannot deny God's power. Brother Allen put that boy down on his brand new feet. No shoes. You don't put shoes on clubs. He had no shoes, barefoot. Never saw his mama. Never talked. The tongue snapped back into his mouth for the first time. And he started taking off and running to mama. And I'm running right on this trail. And he leaped into his mama's arms, and I heard him say his first words, Dwight. Said, Mama! Oh, I'm telling you something, folks. That was the greatest night that I believe I was in, because that precipitated other miracles. 12 wheelchairs on that side. 12 wheelchairs. And when you see wheelchairs, a lot of them are motorcycle accident victims. Broken backs and hips. No hope. On that side were 15 stretchers they brought in from the hospital. All of a sudden, when they saw that miracle of that little boy, everybody in the wheelchairs, nobody laid hands on them, but all of them got up like a master sergeant, commanded them to rise up, and they come out of the wheelchairs totally healed by the power of the living Christ. Every eye left the wheelchairs and every eye went to the stretchers. Anticipation set in. God never disappointed them. Nobody laid hands on them. No human hands. And everybody in those stretchers got up and walked out. Totally healed by the power of Christ. A notable miracle has taken place. One of the greatest, I believe, that I've ever seen.